good morning. It's Jim in beautiful Beaverton, Oregon. Well, it is November 8th today, and yesterday it was pouring down rain. Today, as you can see, it's beautiful. So we'll come out and we thought we would film at least one more time outside this year. In my last video, I mentioned that I had rescued a bunch of bluegill from a pond I decommissioned and some goldfish. I want to walk over here and see if you can take a picture of these goldfish. These goldfish are close to 15 years old. They don't look it. They're lightning fast if they need to be. They've been in a pond for years and years just taking care of themselves. So it's amazing that they can do it. As long as we're here, let's look at the old pond, Missile Water Hawthorn. You can see it's still blooming away, and it will bloom away right into December. Over here is the water lily, which we have now cut off completely and lowered down in the pond. We'll lower it further on down if it gets too cold. The pickerel plant is still going strong too in November. So anyhow, what I wanted to talk about today was how I added the second pond, which I have just done. So I will do that now. Let's kind of step back a little bit. First, I want to talk about the extension I did. The old one, if you've seen the video 2 or 3 back, went from here that way. So I said, what the heck? Put a post down here, post down here, into the wall. I can't tell you how good it is to build into a fence if you've got one. And there we go. The roof of these, which is for various purposes, is polycarbonate, which is really good stuff, incredibly tough. And I would recommend polycarbonate anywhere where you have to use something like this. So anyhow, that was all I did to add this on, and I think it matches well. And of course the tanks are identical. So this tank here is a fish tank, but it's also a sump, because again, it's on the bottom of the whole run, and it has the pump in it. So from here, we were going to add a fish tank, and this is how we're going to do it. First, we leveled this off, sanded it out, pounded it down, and got it dead level, and installed the tank. This tank has to be high enough up over this tank that it can drain into it, which is what it does from here. This is a shower drain that I've hooked onto that. I can raise it up or down, and by doing so, that will raise the water level up or down in here. So anyhow, to start with, we'll go with the drain to start with. The drain from there, we cut a 2-inch hole for a 2-inch bulkhead fitting through there, hooked it onto a 2-inch pipe with a union on the other side. And then this is hooked onto it in such a manner that it can move a little bit. So it comes on down here, and you'll notice we have an angle downhill, and there it is dumping back into the pond. So now that's the drain side. That's all we had to do. Now on the pressure side, there's the pump pumps into here. I just added that valve on a T right there and that union, and I came up here and went over that way using Unistrut. Right over here, and there it goes. You'll notice in this pond, the water doesn't go up and down. It always stays the same, and it would stay the same up until the water ran out in that pond. So if something bad happens in here, it's just going to drain down to the level of that drain there and then stop, which is a really nice thing to have. So anyhow, that's how I set up the plumbing. If you look back over here, I have put more of my bluegill condos in. These are really big ones, because my plan for this tank is to take a bunch of my bigger bluegill, which are, some of them are a pound now, and put them in here, like 6 or 7 of the very biggest ones, and put them in there. So one thing I want to talk about is, when I put this tank in and I filled it up with water, it started to leak. It's not the first one I've had leaks, so it was depressing, but I knew what to do about it. And this is what you do about it. You get some of this stuff right there. It comes from Balin's website, the same people that sell the galvanized tanks. This is the stuff you want. Don't go out and get some kind of caulking or something and think it might be the same kind of deal. This is not like anything you have ever squeezed through a caulking gun. I guarantee it. When you squeeze it out, it sort of flows out and it gets a cover on it immediately. You can't run your fingers through it, period. You put it down, and then just step away from it, and it will continue to flow out for quite a while after you walk away from it. So what you have to do, this tank was leaking right here actually, and I thought it might when I bought it because I could see it from the inside. There's just a bead of caulking around the inside of these, a bead of this stuff, not caulking, excuse me. And then there's a strip up that side, and that's the only place they can leak. So if they do, drain them down, dry them out. In this case, I took it in out of the rain, rub it down with alcohol, and then put this stuff on it. And it takes it a while to set, maybe 2 or 3 days it should be setting. It dries real slow on the inside. Also, it smells pretty strong, so you got to be in a well-ventilated area. I should say read all of the cautions on this and follow them, because among other things it's flammable too. So do what the tube says, but be aware that it smells for a while after you put it on there. Anyhow, that's it. So I think I've covered everything with the new ponds pretty much. The tip of the day is anywhere where you're inside the tank with things like this where there's a fitting, you don't never know, or you might want to change it. This fitting doesn't have to be glued. You can put them in really tight and they don't typically leak at all, but if it did leak, it just leaks inside the tank. So many of these fittings, when you have them on the inside, particularly ones that drain in, you want to change depths and stuff. So if it's inside the tank, don't be too quick to glue it in, or you'll be tearing it all apart and doing it again. So that's the tip of the day, and we will see you next time.